Success is a trap, guys. There's a lot of stuff that people don't talk about. Like when freedom feels like a trap. You have built what most people only dream about. The money is there, right? The calendar is open. The obligations, they're minimal. You are technically free, but a lot of seven-figure founders, especially the ones who didn't build their businesses for ego or for attention, they hit this exact wall. Why do I feel stuck now that I finally have everything I wanted? Not stuck like burnout, not stuck like stress, stuck like stillness. Like you're walking through fog while everyone else keeps sprinting. Like your old ambition doesn't really drive you anymore, but you don't have a new one yet. This is the freedom trap, the success trap. It's a space that almost no one warns you about because nobody really wants to admit that success can feel like this, disorienting. It's not depression, it's not a midlife crisis, it's the byproduct of finally being unburdened. And then realizing you were more addicted to the chase than you actually thought. And for high-performing founders, freedom, it does not automatically feel good. At first, you feel like you're floating. There's no targets, there's no tension, there's no pressure. And for someone who spent decades building off of pressure, that emptiness can really feel like failure. So in this video, we're going to break down exactly why this happens, what to do about it, and how to reconnect with a version of success that actually satisfies you instead of drains you. Not another business idea. It's not another hustle. It is a path forward that honors your ambition without having to recreate your prison. Right? This is the chase that built you. Why that growth was your identity. Before you had freedom, you had fuel, pressure, deadlines, doubt. All of it pushed you. Even the fear of failure was useful because it kept you sharp, kept you alive. And whether you realized it or not, your identity became wrapped around the chase. So you weren't really just building a business. You were building you. Every single win, every milestone, every sale confirmed. You were right on track. You were valuable. And you had what it took. It was a proving ground. And if you're like most driven founders out there, you probably got addicted to proving. But here's where it gets really dangerous. When you hit that seven-figure mark, or you sell the company, or you finally arrive, the proving ends. Nobody's questioning you anymore. You're no longer fighting to survive. There's no scoreboard left to chase. And now, you feel untethered. This is what creates that freedom trap. Because your mind, it's still wired for tension. It's still wired for conflict, for building, for defending your position in the game. But the game itself is over. And you don't really know who you are without it. This is why so many successful people, they quietly relapse into chaos. They launch another company, right? They take on needless pressure. They really build complexity into what could be simple. And it's not because they need it. It's because they miss that identity that really came with the chase. The real work now, it's to untangle who you are from what you've built and redefine what growth means without needing to prove anymore. So here's when peace actually feels like loss. This is the psychological crash after you win. A lot of people assume that peace is going to feel like some kind of a reward. But for high performers, it kind of feels like grief. It's subtle, but when the noise dies down and the urgent emails stop and your calendar clears, something inside you starts to panic. Not externally. There's not really a crisis, but inside it kind of feels like something is missing, like something is off. And here's why. Your nervous system spent an entire decade or more wired for survival, for tension, for performance. You trained it to associate stress with purpose. So when peace finally shows up, it doesn't really feel good. It feels like something's wrong, like it's off. You catch yourself checking metrics that no longer even matter. You're going to feel weird emptiness after the slow days, even if they were restful. You kind of wonder why you're not really more excited about finally arriving. This is the psychological crash that you're going to experience. It's that come down that nobody really warned you about. And if you don't really understand it, you're going to start manufacturing pressure again, just so you can feel alive. You'll say yes to projects that don't really matter. You'll overcomplicate your business. You will invent fires to put out, all because stillness feels like death to a system that was trained to chase. But here's the thing, stillness is not death, it's a detox. It's that space where you unhook from the parts of yourself that only knew how to survive. So the key isn't to fill the space, it's to listen in it. Because what you build next, it should not be another escape from discomfort. What it should be is built from clarity and grounded ambition. So let's trade that tension for clarity. Here's how to rewire your drive without necessarily killing it, okay? I want to get something straight here. You do not need to become a monk, okay? You don't have to journal your way out of drive. You shouldn't want to. The goal is not to eliminate ambition here. It's to unhook it from pressure. Most high performers, they make one of two mistakes here when they reach that freedom point, right? They collapse completely, they burn the boats, they exit the game entirely, or they recreate the exact same pressure in a new version of the old business. Neither of these paths is going to satisfy you because both are reactive. The real third path is this. You want to use that stillness to upgrade your internal operating system. So instead of building from fear or lack, you build from alignment. What does that look like? What do I actually want now, right? What's the minimum structure that I need to stay creatively alive? What activities energize me instead of drain me? This is where clarity replaces tension as the fuel. But clarity doesn't feel urgent. It's not going to shout at you. That's why a lot of people miss it. Clarity whispers. It shows up in the quiet patterns that emerge after you detox from performance. Maybe it's the pull to teach. Maybe it's the joy of simplifying what once felt complex. Or maybe it's the urge to build with fewer people, fewer tools, fewer layers. When tension ruled, you said yes out of fear. But when clarity leads, you say no without guilt. And you say yes without second guessing. You're still going to work hard. That doesn't change. You'll build. But it'll come from an anchored place, not an anxious one. And that changes everything. So, let's talk about designing a business that doesn't recreate your old prison. Okay? You escaped the grind, so don't rebuild it in disguise. This is where a lot of seven-figure founders mess up. What they do is leave behind the burnout, that inducing business model, only to create a new one with different walls. Oh, I'll just take on a few more clients. But they stack up, and now your time isn't yours all over again. I'll scale a course. But then you're trapped inside funnels, launch pressure, and constant content churn. I'm going to build some passive income. Yeah, but you're micromanaging VAs. You're tinkering with landing pages. And you're up at 2 a.m. checking ad metrics. You don't realize that you're just rebuilding the identity that you never really let go of. The operator, the overachiever, the savior, the hustler. You say that you want simplicity, but a big part of you still fears being forgotten or irrelevant if you happen to slow down. So the new business becomes yet another form of performance. But here's the opportunity. You get to design a business model from a very different place. Start with constraints, right? What is the max number of hours you're willing to work every single week? What kind of clients or customers don't really drain you? What is the absolute minimum revenue that you need to feel free? Then reverse engineer your offer, your audience, and your systems around that. You're going to be shocked at how little is actually required just to hit 20K a month when you're not really using your business to fix emotional wounds. The more constraints that you add, the more elegant that your model becomes. That is when you realize you don't need more scale. You don't need more leverage. Fewer inputs, cleaner delivery, predictable flow. Build it once, let it breathe. And for the first time in your life, success does not have to feel like another cage. All right? This is what real success looks like after you stop performing. All right? You have spent years chasing someone else's definition, okay, of what success really is. Revenue, headcounts, exit, reach, and you hit it. Maybe you even surpassed it. But now, none of it really moves the needle inside of you. And that is not failure. That is an invitation. Because when performance fades, you are finally forced to confront a deeper question. What actually matters to me? This is what real success starts to look like once you stop performing for the algorithm, for the market, or the imaginary scoreboard that you created. Your calendar feels like freedom, not obligation. You start to trust your business to operate, even when you step away. You say no more than yes, and you mean it. You build for energy, not for ego. You are fully present at lunch with your kids. You like yourself, even when you're not winning. So you realize that you don't need $1 million month just to feel powerful. What you need is a model that aligns with your nervous system, with your values, and with your actual life. Success is not measured in followers or funnels, okay? It is measured in the following: how grounded you feel, how honest you are, how alive your work makes you feel without draining the rest of your life dry. And here's something that's kind of ironic. When you build from that place, the audience, it still grows. The revenue is still going to come. The impact, it still compounds. But it's not built on exhaustion anymore. It's built on peace, on clarity, on enough. All right? The exit you're actually looking for, what is that? If you are still here, you're probably wrestling with a very quiet truth. All right? The freedom that you earned, it doesn't feel like freedom yet. That's not a sign that you failed. It's a sign that you are evolving, that you're not looking for a new goal. You are looking for a new way to be in your business, in your body, in your relationships, in your identity. You thought that money was going to fix all of it. You thought that status was going to fill it. But now you know. This next chapter, it's not about proving anything. It's about building something that actually fits. You have earned the right to build slower, to build deeper and more honestly. You've earned the right to exit the performance loop without exiting the game. And that's the real play now. And you're not alone in it. Plenty of people are with you. Okay? If this video hit a nerve, something real, I want you to let it stay with you. Don't rush to optimize. Don't race to just fix anything. Just sit with this version of you that's ready to build differently. And if you want, I can help you. All right, I've built the space for founders just like you who want to grow quietly without burning out or selling their soul to the algorithm. All right? The links are below. And until next time, obviously stay steady, build what lasts, and remember, freedom is not something that you earn. It is something that you design. I will see you guys in the next video. If you haven't subscribed yet, click that button. Thanks.